I want to tell you something that might surprise you. I am shy. I know, I know what you're thinking. This man has spent 40 years on stages and sets and in front of cameras. He runs a talent agency. He hosts a daily show. How is he shy? And the answer to that question is actually the entire subject of today's episode. Is that people always ask me to give speeches at all the family events, not taking into account that I never know what to say, I never know where to hide myself, and I always do so with great big red cheeks. None of us are alone. Today's question, and it's the question I get asked more than any other. The question that has been sitting in my comments, in the DMs and the emails since I started is this. Can I be an actor if I answer, which is the one that's actually useful, is that shyness is not the obstacle you think it is. And in some very important ways, it might be your greatest asset. Let me show you why. The most recognizable faces in film history, a man who played pirates and mad hatters and murderous barbers with a physicality and a presence that fills any screen he's on. Profoundly shy. His own words. Audrey Hepburn, arguably the most elegant screen presence of the 20th century, described herself as an introvert who found large social gatherings almost physically painful. Glenn Close, Harrison Ford, Emma Watson. The list of world-class screen actors who identify as shy or introverted is not short. It is, in fact, remarkably long. So before we go any further, I want you to understand something. The idea that acting is for extroverts, for the loudest people in the room, for the naturals who have never met a stranger, that idea is not just wrong, it is almost exactly backwards. So what is shyness actually? First, we need to make a distinction that most people never make, and it matters enormously. Shyness and introversion are not the same thing. Introversion is an energy rather than in company. It means large groups drain you. It means you think before you speak rather than speaking to think. It's not a flaw, it's a wiring. Shyness is different. Shyness is a fear, specifically a fear of negative evaluation, the fear that if people look at you, really look at you, they'll find something lacking, something to judge, something to reject. You can be an introvert without being shy. You can be an extrovert and be profoundly shy. And you can be both, which is where I live and where a lot of actors live. How many of you would describe yourselves as shy? Drop it in the comments and tell me. Is this the introversion or fear of judgment or both? Now, here's the thing that we fear of negative evaluation as it relates to acting. The fear is completely rational. You're literally asking people to watch you and form an opinion. That is what acting is. The fear makes perfect sense. The problem is that the fear lives for the solving of the wrong problem. It is trying to protect you, but what it's actually doing is keeping you small. And small is the one thing the camera will never forgive. So let's talk about the reframe. Why acting is perfect for shy people. Here is the great irony of shyness in acting. And I want you to really sit with this because it changed the way I understood my own career. The things that make you shy in real life, the deep self-awareness, the sensitivity to how others perceive you, the acute observation of other people's reactions, the rich, complicated inner life you carry around and really show to strangers, those are not weaknesses on camera. Those are superpowers. The camera reads interiority. We talked about this last week when we discussed psychological realism. The camera sees thought, it sees the inner life. It's not interested in performance, it's interested in truth. And who has the most developed inner life? The person who has spent years watching from the edges of rooms. The person who notices everything. The person who has learned to feel deeply and show it carefully. That is the shy person. That is the introvert. That is you. There is something else. Acting gives you something that everyday social interaction never does. Permission. In real life, when you walk into a room, you are yourself. Every judgment lands on you personally. Every awkward silence is yours to own. On stage, on camera, in character, you are not you. You are the character, and the character is not afraid, or if they are afraid, be paralyzed by it. This is why so many shy people find that performing is actually easier than socializing. The structure sets them free. You know your lines, you know your objective, you know where the scene is going. The imaginary circumstances give you something real life never gives a shy person. A map. I recall very much my very first performance on stage, being dressed as a teddy bear and standing backstage, thinking, I was terrified. I didn't know how I was going to do this. It was really scary. There was a group of people standing there, adults, watching me. But my dad kind of shoved me on stage and I stumbled on, and lo and behold, when the audience clapped, I was taken aback. I was like, wow, that was actually really cool. That validated me in some way, and I'm sure you've had that same experience. So let's lean into that and let's talk about the practical toolkit, right? So I can give you five tips because the reframe is important. You need to understand that shyness is not disqualifying of five things that actually work. Number one, preparation is your superpower. Use it. Extroverts can wing it. Shy people generally cannot. And that's fine, because preparation is more valuable than spontaneity. Know your material inside out. Not just the lines, the circumstances, the objective, the emotional logic of every moment. When you are fully prepared, the performance almost runs itself. There's nothing left to be afraid of, because the shy actor who is thoroughly prepared will outperform the confident actor who is not. Every time. Tip 2. I said earlier that the character gives you permission. Use that consciously. Before you step in front of the camera or into the audition room or onto the stage, take a moment to put the character on. Not as a mask to hide behind, but as a shift in identity. Ask yourself, how does this character stand? How do they breathe? What do they want right now? And then walk in as them, not as you. The shyness belongs to Ian. It does not necessarily belong to the character. And you have to leave Ian outside the door. Tip number 3. Shyness lives in the body. The held breath, the hunched shoulders, the small gestures, the voice that drops when you feel exposed. A physical warm-up before you perform is not a theatre school affectation. It is a physiological reset. It tells your nervous system we are not in danger. We are allowed to take up space. Shake out the hands, roll the shoulders, take 3 deep breaths with a long exhale. Make sound, any sound. Tip 4, shyness is self-focused. It is your attention turned imagining what others see. The antidote is simple but requires practice. Direct your focus outward to the other actor. to the object in the scene, to what your character wants. You cannot be self-conscious and genuinely listening at the same time. The moment you are truly focused on the other person, truly hearing them, truly responding to them, the shyness has nowhere to live. This is why Meisner's technique, which is built entirely on the repetition exercise, on being present to the other person, is so effective for shy actors. It takes the attention off you and puts it exactly where you need it to be. Tip number 5, introverts have a finite social battery. This is not a weakness, it is in fact a fact of your neurology. Work with it, not against it. Protect your energy. Don't schedule a full social day before a big creative demand. Give yourself quite something left in reserve. And after, give yourself recovery time. The introvert who pushes through exhaustion loses the very thing that makes them powerful on camera: the inner life, the sensitivity, the presence. Rest is not laziness. For the introverted actor, rest is professional preparation. Hot take or hard pass. Extroverts make better. In this section, you're going to tell me if you agree or disagree. Here we go. Extroverts make better actors than introverts. Comment yes if you think that is true. Hard pass if you don't. I want to know where you stand before I tell you what I... The case for yes. Extroverts are comfortable in the room. They walk into an audition room and the energy in the space goes up. They make the casting director feel good immediately. They are easy to direct because they are responsive. They take risks instinctively and they don't disappear into their own heads. On a practical level, the entertainment industry runs on relationships, networking, socializing, being the person people. Remember, at the party, all of this comes as reward visibility. But the case against the hard pass is the camera. The camera destroys this argument completely. Stage presence and screen presence are different things. The extrovert's energy, which fills a theatre, often reads as too much in close-up. The introvert's stillness, which can disappear on stage, is truly great. The ones we have discussed on the show. Cillian Murphy at Trinity, Brando in The Garden. These are not performances powered by extroversion. They are powered by interiority, by depth, by the willingness to be seen thinking. The greatest screen actors are not the loudest people in the room. They are the ones who make you forget there is a room. So the verdict for me is that it is absolutely true that introverts definitely make some of the best actors in the world, and it's often surprised me just how quiet and introverted some of the most impressive actors really are. When you speak to them, you can sense that they are constantly observing the world around them and they are gaining material, even though they're engaged with you and they are present in the routine and thinking and observing, which is a powerful, powerful skill. So, shyness is not a disqualification. It is not something that you need to fix before you're allowed to begin. It is not evidence that you've chosen the wrong path. It is not a sign. It is a starting point, like every other thing about you that feels like a limitation. It is the raw material that the craft works with. The shy actor who does the work, who understands their instrument, who prepares relentlessly, who learns to direct their focus outward, that actor has access to a depth of truth on camera that the performer who is never afraid simply does not. Your shyness is not the problem. The absence of training is the problem, and that's something that we can fix. Becoming an Actor 2026 starts this Saturday, the 2nd of May at 10 o'clock in the morning. This is the course that takes everything that we have talked about on this show, psychological realism, the 5 pillars, the business of building a career, and gives you the full framework live with me in a small group where you will actually be seen and worked with. Until class begins on Saturday morning, you can join for 2,500 Rand, that is 50% off the full price. If you need to spread it, the payment plan puts it at 3 months. Installments of just 834 Rand, and the link will be in the comments and in the description. Once class starts, the price goes back to full price, 4,999 Rand, no exceptions. So if you're shy and you have been watching the show and thinking, this is for someone else, not for me, this episode was for you. This course is for you. So come along. One more thing before I go. Next Monday, the 4th of May, Anthem Creative Agency opens talent applications in Cape Town and Johannesburg. If you are a trained performer who is ready for representation, or if you're on your way there and want a partner who builds with you rather than waiting for you to arrive, applications open at anthemcreativeagency.com on Monday, the 4th of May. We're not looking for perfect. We are looking for serious. This is serious about this industry. Share it with the actor in your life who needed to hear today's episode, because I promise you, there is someone you know who has been sitting on their dream because they think that they are too shy to pursue it. Send this to them. This is Anthem Daily. We don't wait for our moment. We